Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, September 1, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the US National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that as of their latest update, they have brought back that area to the west of the Cabo Verde Island for possible tropical cyclone development over the next 7 days. This system right now has a 30% chance of cyclone formation, and according to the Hurricane Center, it states here, a tropical wave is forecast to move offshore off the west coast of Africa by Monday. Thereafter, environmental conditions could support some slow development of this system throughout the week while it moves slowly westward or west-northwestward over the eastern tropical Atlantic Ocean. And we see that it's kind of tilted from east-southeast to west-northwest, so it might just go out to sea. Let's hope so, because we cannot afford any of these systems at all doing damage across the Caribbean anytime soon. We also still have that area right there to the southeast of Texas that has a chance of development, just a 10% chance. They've stated here a broad area of low pressure just offshore of the upper Texas coast continues to produce some disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity near the coast of Texas and Louisiana and over the adjacent waters of the northwestern Gulf of Mexico. This system is expected to meander near the coast for the next couple of days, and some slow development is possible if it remains offshore. By Tuesday, the system is forecast to move inland and further development is not expected. Regardless, heavy rains could cause some flash flooding across portions of coastal Louisiana and the upper Texas coast during the next couple of days. And we see that they've given it a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's next 2 days, and a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. But all eyes are on this tropical wave right here to the east of the Caribbean that still has a medium 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. According to the Hurricane Center, disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity continues in association with a tropical wave located a couple of 100 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. The disturbance is expected to move westward and reach the Lesser Antilles on Monday, then cross the eastern Caribbean Sea on Tuesday. Environmental conditions are forecast to become more conducive for development while the system moves across the central and western Caribbean Sea during the middle and latter parts of the week, and a tropical depression could form during that time. Regardless of development, this system could cause gusty winds and locally heavy rainfall over portions of the Lesser Antilles tonight and Monday. And we see that they've given it a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days, that's the next 48 hours, and a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And we're going to be looking at what the supercomputer models are showing, because we know that they've been changing all week long into the weekend. At one point it was showing somewhat of a strong tropical storm, if not a hurricane, making it close to Jamaica on the GFS model. Let us see what the latest runs are showing. This GFS run is as of 18Z, so that just came out like 2 hours ago if I'm not mistaken. And this Euro run is the 12Z run that came out during the afternoon hours today. So let's go out in time. We're going to be looking at the timestamp right here, going out to the next 168 hours, that's the next 7 days. And we're going to be focusing our attention on the bottom part of this map right here. We're going to be seeing the moisture associated with the tropical wave coming in from the main development region. Let's see if we can keep track of it, even although the area of low pressure is not really showing up this time, which only signifies or signals that it might not develop at all. So more than likely, if anything, a strong tropical wave, if not a tropical depression. So let us see what's going on. So first of all, as we go out in time, we're starting off on Sunday into Monday, and we're seeing that we still have a lot of moisture coming into portions of Jamaica. And as we continue to go out in time, we see the moisture coming into portions of the Eastern Caribbean. It was always set to come in and affect the Eastern Caribbean on Monday. As we continue to go out in time, we see the moisture right there across the Central to the Eastern Caribbean. And then into Wednesday to the south of Hispaniola. Then by Thursday, it's right here across Jamaica. We don't see the L associated with the airflow pressure. So the models are definitely backing off, not as strong as they once were. And then by Friday, we start to see that most of the moisture is off to the west of Jamaica, heading into portions of the Yucatan Peninsula. And we see that by the end of the 168 hours, the end of the 7 days, the moisture should be right there across portions of the Gulf of Mexico. If we take a look at what the GFS model is showing regarding this system, first of all, look at all the greens represent moisture stretching from the eastern to the central and western Caribbean already. But as we go out in time, let's see exactly what happened. So we're starting to see the moisture coming into the Caribbean. It's right here to the south of Haiti and the Dominican Republic by 0Z on Thursday. That's about 7 p.m. on Wednesday. As we continue, we see the system right there by the end of the day on Thursday. That's 7 p.m. So 0Z on Friday is about 7 p.m. on Thursday. We see the moisture associated with it. Definitely a strong tropical wave kind of situation. We see even some darker greens and yellows in there to the south of Jamaica. And then look at that. By 12Z on Saturday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Saturday, we see the airflow pressure starting to form right there off to the southwest of Jamaica. So I guess the models are definitely backing off. We are seeing it starting to develop something right there to the east of Belize, to the north of Honduras. We'll see exactly what unfolds regarding that. But we see by the end of the next 168 hours, the system is definitely, different in terms of the geographical locations. The Euro has it more across the Gulf of Mexico, while the GFS has it more so across the Western Caribbean. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what unfolds, and as I've been saying all week, it doesn't make sense we actually look at these models yet until we have some kind of low pressure form, because they are going to continuously be all over the place, considering that the tropical wave is still disorganized. Either way, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can still see the ridgified pressure right here to the north of the main development region that we know is responsible for sending all of these tropical waves, all of these systems from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see a trough as represented by the broken orange line still affecting portions of Florida, the Gulf of Mexico. A tropical wave, the same tropical wave that the Hurricane Center is watching right there to the east of the Caribbean. And the other tropical wave right here, the Hurricane Center, well, another tropical wave. I guess that's the tropical wave that the Hurricane Center tagged last week. And they dropped it, but they highlighted another one right here that they said is set to come off of Africa. So I guess there's some other tropical wave coming soon. We'll see how that goes. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see all of the entities being represented here. The trough bringing cloud showers and thunderstorms to portion of the northern Bahamas, Florida. The airflow pressure right there off the southeastern Texas coastline and the Louisiana coastline bringing cloud showers and thunderstorms to the waters of the Gulf. We see a lot of moisture pushing from east to west across the Caribbean, which explains why it has been so wet across sections of the island recently. We see the clouds associated with the tropical wave right there to the east of the Windward and Leeward Islands. More of the moisture to the south right there to the east of the Windward Islands. We'll see how that goes. The other tropical wave right here, and the other tropical wave coming off of Africa right there. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, September 1, 2024. It was stated that parts of eastern Jamaica would have received rainfall last night into Sunday morning, and then affected sections of central and western Jamaica during Sunday afternoon. And just for reference, we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. While central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. So St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. So Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? As early as 11:45 p.m. last night, we saw the infrared satellite images. There were definitely some isolated thunderstorms coming into portions of St. Thomas and Portland during that time period. We saw the high cold cloud tops as represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds. They represent some amount of cumulonimbus clouds, and we saw the sparkling white dust that will represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So we definitely had the thunderstorm activity across portions of St. Thomas and Portland last night. And then even as we woke up this morning, the visible satellite image was posted at around 6:16 a.m. highlighting the clouds, bring some isolated showers and even some isolated thunderstorms to portions of eastern Jamaica too. So we had that rainfall last night into this morning just as predicted, especially across sections of Portland, St. Mary this morning. And then look at what took place by afternoon. The visible satellite images were posted at around 2:45 p.m. and they highlighted clouds coming in. By the way, look at the flow. We can definitely see that low level flow coming in more so from the east southeast than anything else. Not so east to west, but definitely east southeast, a kind of tilt northward. We saw those low-level cumulus clouds becoming mature, medium-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds, and that's when we started to have the sparkling yellow dust that will represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So we definitely had the thunderstorm activity, especially across sections of northern Jamaica, sections of western Jamaica, sections of central Jamaica. Definitely got in on the thunderstorm activity, but it was more so northern areas of some southern parishes like northern St. Elizabeth, northern Manchester, northern Clarendon, northern St. Catherine. Sections of Kingston and St. Andrew definitely gotten on some isolated thunderstorms too. And we saw some clouds coming in from the east to affect sections of St. Thomas as well as Portland. And keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the summer done, we can definitely see the pop-up thunderstorms across portions of St. Mary, northern St. Catherine, right there, section of St. Anne. Even after the main thunderstorm across western Jamaica died down, we're still getting in on some clouds, but we're starting to see some of that dying down as we lose the sunlight. Taking a look at what took place on the Barbican camera today. By the way, this live stream is from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. If you don't know by now, we have a partnership with this channel where they show live streams of the corporate area, Halfway Tree, Crossroads, the Kingston Harbor. And at around 2:42 p.m. so 14:42, we know that's military time, or the 24-hour clock. That stands for 2:42 p.m. Jamaica time. We see the cars with their windshield wipers on, a pedestrian walking with her umbrella. Definitely a soaked street right there to indicate that they've definitely been getting in on some isolated afternoon rainfall for sure. And if we take a look at the comment that came in from some of her followers on her Twitter page, we had Jackie J stating loud thunder and rain in my era, Kingston 8. Tanya Hunter stating thunder and dark clouds in the distance, but the sun is bright and the time is hot. Jerome Johnson stating thunder rolling deep and hard, had a small 1 minute out of rain in the Constant Spring Road area. Ricardo James stating thundering here in Kingston Eastern. It is surely pouring in the hills of St. Andrew. Even on our Instagram page, we had some comments coming in. Janelle Hemming stating thunderstorm the normal in St. Catherine, some rotted lightning, a leak over here. And she also stated it started here from before 2 p.m. went on about an hour and a half. It stopped and now it's pure lightning and the rain has started again. Even Lenky the Buzz if I'm not butchering your name, stated raining at Manning's Hill district. So that indeed confirms the rainfall across portions of the island today. And if we take a look at what's happening on the latest infrared satellite images, first of all, at the beginning of the images, we saw the other thunderstorms that took place even after the previous post. We see the high cold cloud tops as represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds that represent some cumulonimbus clouds. And if we take a look at the very latest image that just came out as of 35 minutes past the hour, so this just came out at 7:35 p.m. and we can see that majority of the clouds are dying out. We still have some leftover clouds right there across sections of northern Manchester, northern Clarendon, and St. Anne, Trelawney right there. And if we take a look at the latest from the Cuban Doppler radar side, we can see that majority of the rainfall has definitely cleared out. Most of the rainfall right there off to the west of the island that we know represent some moderate to heavy rainfall, as we can see by the key on the right, the greens, the yellows, that's what it represents. If we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban military radar, we can see that there's not much happening right now. Just some isolated shores right there across the waters to the southeast of Cuba. Some rainfall right there across southeastern Cuba. Some isolated shores between Haiti and Jamaica as usual. And if we take a look at the latest Cayman radar, we can see all the rainfall that we just saw on the Cuban Doppler radar images. We see it right there to the west of Negril. Well, some of it's still affecting Negril on this image. Let's see if we reload it, if we're still getting a rainfall there, because we're not seeing the rainfall that much. Well, we saw it earlier, but most of it has died down right now on the latest Cuban Doppler radar image. So we just reloaded it. Yes, we saw the leftover rainfall that was still affecting portions of Negril, but it's starting to die out. Some of the rainfall up to the west of the island, some of the rainfall right there up to the north of the Cayman Island as well. And if we take a look at the latest from Crossroads in St. Andrew, don't see much taking place. Definitely a dry night. Definitely going to be able to see the stars for sure. Not much in the way of wet weather at all. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can tell we're 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Monday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look here at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18 on Monday. When calculated, that's about 1 p.m. on Monday. We can see Jamaica right here embedded in some yellows. That represents up to 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature, as we can see, being represented by the key on the right. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of September across Jamaica are about close to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 32.2 degrees Celsius. So considering that we're going to be receiving a 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature rise, it should be anywhere from 32 to 33 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Monday. So please ensure that you stay hydrated, wear a hat, use an umbrella, stay out of the sun during peak hours. Stay hydrated by drinking more water and eating more fruits than normal. If we take a look here at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Monday, we can see Jamaica right here in the clear for sure. Definitely going to be seeing blue skies, not going to be seeing all of this haze that portion of the northeastern Caribbean should be expecting. They're definitely going to be getting on that hazy sky. And we know how bad the Saharan dust can be, triggering some amount of respiratory illnesses in some person, whether it be asthma, sinusitis, you name it. And we know it could eventually make its way westward to Jamaica, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north right there. If we take a look here at the wave forecast for tomorrow, not much change. The lighter shades of blues across the Gulf of Mexico and the Western Caribbean that we know represent 0.5 meter wave height, and the darker shades of blues from the Central to the Eastern Caribbean that represent 1 to 1.5 meter wave height, because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 knots, gusting up to 20 knots, especially we see the brighter green colors. And we see the general flow for these winds coming in from the east tomorrow, especially across the Central Caribbean. But look at the Eastern Caribbean, they're definitely getting in that on that southeasterly flow, all courtesy of the tropical wave that should be passing through tomorrow for sure. So they're definitely going to be getting in on a moist southeasterly flow, lots of thunderstorms for sure, so look out for that. We can see the ridge of high pressure right here with the ear going around it in a clockwise fashion. If we take a look at the close-up of Jamaica regarding the wind forecast, we know the winds have a lot to do with the weather forecast. It's very important. And we can definitely see a an east southeasterly flow for sure tomorrow. Not so much from the east. If it was so much from the east, it would be coming more so in this direction. So we definitely see it turning and curving northward, especially on the south coast. We see it coming in and curving more so from east to west on the north coast. But either way, we see all of the air piling up across, especially northern and western Jamaica, and that's what's going to be happening. So maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, we might get some rainfall coming off of the sea for eastern Jamaica. Who knows, maybe for a section of southern Jamaica as well. But tomorrow afternoon, for sure, we're gonna be having all of the air piling up here across northern and western Jamaica. That's where we're gonna be having that daytime heating or diurnal convection that we usually get. So more than likely, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, maybe section of St. Mary for sure, getting that afternoon rainfall, so look out for that. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 10 p.m. Jamaica time. And look at what we see here. The blues, they represent rainfall across especially eastern Jamaica. That's where we see the consensus. Even although we do see consensus for rainfall off to the north of the island and west of the island, we're more inclined to believe what we see on land. And we see it across sections of St. Thomas and Portland for 10 p.m. tonight. Skipping ahead now to about 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 a.m. Jamaica time. We still see the blues that represent rainfall across sections of St. Thomas and Portland. The Euro and the GFS definitely in consensus with these darker blues that represent, a high certainty that we're going to be receiving rainfall. Look at even some greens in there to the east of the island. We'll see how that goes. Then by 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7 a.m. Jamaica time, look at that. The Euro is crazy with this forecast. Some dark greens, even yellows in there that represent what? Up to 8 or more millimeters of rainfall. We can also see rainfall right there off to the south of the island, maybe sections of southern St. Elizabeth, southern Manchester, southern Clarendon, Kingston, St. Andrews, southern St. Catherine getting in on the mix. But that's just one model. What does the GFS model show? It only shows eastern Jamaica getting in on that rainfall. So we're going to be working with the consensus. We're working with what both of them agree on. Eastern Jamaica for sure. So look out for more rainfall if you're in St. Thomas and Portland at 7 a.m. Then by afternoon now, this map from the GFS and this map from the Euro are both valid for 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. And look at that. Just as expected, that's where the air is going to be piling up across northern and western Jamaica. So definitely, especially northern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and we see even portions of maybe northern St. Andrew, northern St. Catherine getting in on the mix right there on the GFS model. The Euro is trying to incorporate eastern Jamaica again, but we don't see it on the GFS at all. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. Even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are showing rainfall somewhere across Jamaica tomorrow. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing where it's going to be raining from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the areas that are going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall. The Euro has most of the rainfall in the reds up to 1 inch or more across eastern Jamaica. The GFS has most of the rainfall across western Jamaica up to 1 inch or a bit less. And we see that we have some rainfall across the east. We see some colors right there up to 0.28 or more of an inch of rainfall. We'll see how that goes. Either way, we're indeed grateful. We're in the month of August. Well, we're in the month of September, sorry. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is right here at the top, they usually receive almost 100 millimeters of rainfall during September. That's almost 4 inches of rainfall. And in Montego Bay, they usually receive almost 7 inches of rainfall during the month of September. September. That's almost what, 175 millimeters of rainfall. Keep in mind that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. So you can do the math yourself, and you can visit weatherandclimate.com to find out about your specific parish and the amount of rainfall that you usually get throughout the year. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the prediction, well, on this, on what's happening across the Caribbean. Alright, so here we go. So, the clouds are definitely starting to come into portion of the eastern Caribbean associated with that strong tropical wave that the hurricane center has given a medium chance of development. And I'm pretty sure that we're gonna be getting on some bad weather causing flooding, who knows, maybe ripping roofs off or causing tree branches to go down. Considering that this is a strong tropical wave, and tropical waves can definitely do damage in general. We see the clouds associated with that other system that the hurricane center is watching right there off the southeastern Texas coast, off the Louisiana coast. And we see the clouds associated with the trough bring some amount of thunderstorms to portions of Florida, section of Cuba getting on some rainfall too. We can also see a lot of moisture. Look at that, pushing from east to west. If you look closely, you can see the low level flow across the central to the western Caribbean. We can even see some afternoon thunderstorms across northern South America, sections of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, even portions of Central America got in some of the action today. Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, let's see exactly what's unfolding. So we do see the rainfall already coming into portion of the Leeward Islands. Lots of moisture. Look at all of these greens, even some yellows in there that represent some heavy rainfall. In and around Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, section of St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, the US and British Virgin Islands, around Puerto Rico as well. As a matter of fact, if we reload these images from earlier today, we can see that Puerto Rico has been getting in on their usual afternoon rainfall. Look at that section of central, even eastern and western portion of the island of Puerto Rico definitely got in on some rainfall today, and they're still getting in on some rainfall even as we speak, with more to come associated with a tropical wave within the next 24 hours. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, look at all of the moisture. They're definitely going to be getting in on a lot of rainfall if they haven't been already getting that rainfall. Flash flooding is definitely possible. Look at all of the moisture, the greens, the yellows in there that represent some moderate to heavy rainfall. And we can see the rainfall to the east of Dominica, section of Martinique getting in on the action, section of St. Lucia as well, especially right there to the south of St. Lucia, coming into northern St. Vincent right now. Lots of heavy rainfall there. Not much taking place across the Grenadine Islands, but we do see that sections of Grenada are going to be getting in on some of that rainfall too. Even section of Trinidad getting in on the rainfall too. Northern and southeastern Trinidad, not much taking place across Tobago right now at all. If we take a look here at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we do see some rainfall across northeastern Venezuela, northwestern Venezuela. Some rainfall on the border of Suriname and French Guiana, section of Colombia getting in on the mix, section of Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, section of the Yucatan Peninsula. We can also see some rainfall across section of Cuba and southern Florida right there. And if we take a look at where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, keep in mind that this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing where it's going to be raining within the next 24 hours from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but anywhere we see all these colors from greens to yellows to oranges to reds, we know the reds represent up to 1 inch of rainfall. So definitely sections of Florida, Cuba, the Bahamas, section of Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, the Leeward and Windward Islands for sure with that tropical wave. You can also see some rainfall expected for section of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, section of the Yucatan Peninsula as well. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.